Thank you so very much, Chair Stabenow. Mr. Secretary, before I start with my questions about farmers in Georgia, I want to ask a brief question about the baby formula crisis facing Georgia families. My question is simple. From USDA's perspective, when will families in Georgia who are searching for formula start to see more products on the shelves?
Senator, our hope and belief is that we're beginning the process of turning the corner on this. Announced earlier yesterday, or today rather, the opportunity for Gerber and Nestle and Mead & Johnson to basically be able to have the ability to work with state health commissioners to provide greater flexibility to substitute product, whether it's contract brand product, whether it's unauthorized contract brand product, or whether it's a competitor's brand, to be able to access and expand in the WIC program more product. As you well know, we're also bringing more product in from overseas through a series of flights that are currently being financed in part by USDA. We had one in Indianapolis over the weekend, which I attended. Yesterday there was one in Dallas. We also have been working with, encouraging the FDA to continue to work with providers who have not yet been authorized to do business in this country, to be able to expand the capacity of imports. All of that, I think, together with bringing the Sturgis plant back online, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we should begin to see some progress on this, and hopefully over the course of several weeks, we'll see more product on the shelf.
Okay. So in the next couple of weeks, they'll start to see more product. And
next couple of weeks now, it's not going to solve the problem. There's still going to be issues.
Right.
There's still going to be areas where there's going to be challenges. There's still going to be places where people are going to have to use the social media and the networks that they've created to try to identify where product is and be able to make sure that that product gets delivered where it needs to be. But I think we're going to begin to see some progress on this, and hopefully, as the spring and summer wears on, that we're in a much different circumstance. The Sturgis plant's important. The imports are important. The ability to substitute product in the WIC program is important. All of those are.
Thank you. Obviously, for folks who are trying to feed their children, it can't come soon enough.
Understand.
And thank you for traveling with me to Georgia earlier this year to hear directly from farmers who've been left behind by the USDA. Those farmers spoke to the two of us about the need for urgent debt relief, which I remain committed to delivering. They also spoke of the need for USDA to do more to support farmers who have faced historic discrimination and to protect them from adverse actions. I appreciate that the USDA responded to my call to suspend past due debt collections and foreclosures for these farmers, but many farmers who stopped making payments because Congress promised them relief are now considered delinquent through no fault of their own. It is estimated that over 24,000 borrowers have deferred payments or are currently considered economically distressed. What's the plan, Secretary Vilsack? What are you going to do to ensure these farmers are not forced out of their business or off of their land?
Well, currently, there is no capacity to force them off the land. There's no ability to foreclose. We've basically got a moratorium in terms of adverse actions for farmers, number one. Number two, we continue to obviously go through the courts process on the 12 cases that are pending against Section 1005 of the American Rescue Plan, and we'll continue to vigorously support and defend that action by Congress. There are ways in which the definition of those who are able to get debt relief could be adjusted by Congress, and we've suggested, we've provided technical assistance on how that might happen.
So the farmers I'm hearing from in Georgia who are very worried about being forced off their land, you're saying there's no need for them to worry?
There's no need for them to worry at this point in time. And then finally, I would say we also are encouraging folks to take a look at, in the long term, there's an opportunity for loan servicing. Depending upon how all of this shakes out, depending upon what the courts ultimately decide, depending upon what Congress can or cannot do relative to the definition of those who are covered for debt relief, depending upon the ability, our ability at USDA to provide help and assistance, there's also debt servicing opportunities, ways in which we can help farmers stay on the land, and that's the goal.
One other question. I know I'm running out of time here, Madam Chair, but I sent a letter on December 10th raising the concerns of farmers who are concerned about the lack of transparency at the USDA. It took 3 months for me to get a response, and I'm still very concerned about the department's outreach and engagement plan for these farmers. These farmers often hear about funding opportunities well past the application deadline, or when a funding announcement is made, they feel consistently left out. Secretary Vilsack, your response to my letter acknowledged that USDA still has work to do here, and I appreciate that acknowledgement. But what will USDA do differently to address systemic discrimination, and specifically, how have you improved outreach and engagement to historically underserved farmers since our visit?
The first thing that we did is to take resources from the American Rescue Plan and invest them with community building organizations that are trusted by those producers to be able to provide the technical assistance, the information about the programs, and the ability to work with those producers to be able to successfully access the programs. Sometimes it can be difficult and complex to be able to get into our programs. And the reality is, I think with technical assistance, we're going to see more participation. That's the first thing. Now, that was 20 organizations received $75 million to provide that level of assistance over the course of the next couple of years. We also recognize that there are smaller organizations that deal with smaller groups of these disadvantaged and historically underserved producers. And so we are also putting on, there's currently a minimum of $25 million available under the American Rescue Plan for agreements with those organizations as well. The NRCS has an additional $50 million, which they allocated to 108 organizations to expand outreach. That's the first thing. The second thing is each mission area of USDA has put together an equity plan in an effort to try to create an equity lens for everything we do. They've come up with over 500 recommendations. Each mission area is going to have a chief diversity officer. This is really important, Madam Chair.
I realize that, absolutely.
And also the Equity Commission. The Equity Commission is an outside look at trying to reduce systemic barriers, and we expect and anticipate recommendations coming from the Equity Commission sometime this summer. There's a lot more I could say, but time.
This is very, very important, and we certainly want to follow up with that. And I'm only we have 4 members. There's a vote open and 4 members who have been patiently waiting as well. So I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to ask questions. And
thank you for your notice, Madam Chair.
Absolutely, and obviously this is critically important, and we're going to follow up together on this. So thank you very much, Senator Fisher, and then Senator Booker.